Ian is up first. He's going to be telling us a little bit about his game Ship It. Why doesn't everybody give him a round of applause?
All right, hi everybody. I am Ian McClellan from Think On Labs, and my day job I do consumer insights, and at night I code like crazy. And I've built this game called Ship It. I'll tell you more about that in a little bit, but I'm going to tell you about 3 things today. My path to getting to VR development. I'll kind of briefly go through that. I'll tell you a little bit more about Ship It and why I made that, and then tell you how ergonomics are fun and really important to VR development. It sounds like a boring subject, but it's actually what made the game fun. It turned it from being like okay to being, hey, this is great. So I first got into VR, back in my youth, seeing Lawnmower Man. I thought that movie was awesome. It was so weird, but really cool, and it kind of got me excited about that industry, but never really went anywhere. VR crashed from there, and not until Oculus Kickstarter came out, I was like one of the early backers of that. I was pretty excited. That was kind of what started off my development career. Then I'd done a bunch of little projects doing different kind of coding stuff throughout college and after that. But that was when I started getting into games, and I built a game called Layer Life for the Oculus 2013 Game Jam. And that was pretty fun. It was like a little dragon simulator, and you're in this cave and breathing fire on people, collecting gold. And there was like a mirror next to you, and you could look at the mirror and see your dragon head moving around. And it was to kind of get people into that idea of VR is going to take you to something you couldn't do before. I think that's really important, that if you're going to build something for VR, it's got to be unique to VR, something that you can't do in any other platform. Otherwise, why do it there? So that was my first try at that. So that was fun. After that, it took a couple years to work on a mobile game, because VR, there just weren't headsets out there yet. Why would I keep building for it? Maybe it didn't seem like it would be worthwhile money-making enterprise. So I figured, hey, I'll brush up my skills and learn more about Unity, learn more about multiplayer development, and I built a multiplayer game called Project Xanderfall that. As time wore on, headsets came out in April, and I still wasn't finished with it, and it was dragging along, and I was like, really wanted to work on VR stuff, not that anymore. So I switched over, and that's where this thing comes in. Right now in VR, there's a ton of opportunity to create stuff. Like, there's nothing made. The world is your oyster. So where do you go? So my idea was to go back to all the classic ideas for games we've had in the past. There's tons of fun IP out there, fun things that have been done, and game mechanics that are tried and true, but they're not in VR. They're not specific to VR. So how could I take a classic IP or a classic idea of gaming and translate it into something that works in VR? So that was how I came up with the plan for Ship It. Ship It is a fast-paced block stacking game where you grab these blocks, pack them into boxes, and ship them out. And the point of it is to kind of get that frantic 3D physical puzzle and let you grab the blocks and manipulate them in a different way than something like Tetris did. There you're pushing buttons and flipping around. You don't really feel like you're touching the blocks. You feel like you're solving a puzzle. So here, hopefully I'm getting to both. That same kind of frantic, you're solving a puzzle, but also I'm really in that world. So it's set in this kind of farcical factory. So when I started off, everything, I was trying to make it very physical and real, very much like you were in this crazy factory world, and the blocks fall down, they're making noise, falling on this conveyor belt, and then they're going to fall into this waste bin or shredder recycler thing. And then you have this table here where there's going to be boxes, and you're going to grab them off the line and turn your body and put them down in. And it was working pretty well. I did a lot of time trying to figure out how am I going to lay out this room. I wanted to have multiplayer, so this was the play space for the second player and the first player, and how am I going to be able to see them and have sight lines so I can communicate with them, and yet still have area to work. So it was doing pretty well. Play tested it some, and people were enjoying it, but they weren't getting that really frantic pace or the grin under their head mask that you wanted to see. So that was when I had to get to something else. How do I get this game to be more fun? I know there's a core a bit of fun there, and where is it? So the two times that you notice it most were like right when you lock the block into place. Then there's a burst of particles, and hey, I've solved that puzzle. I've gotten this piece into place, and now I get to move on to the next one. And then when you're picking out a piece in the game, I have kind of color puzzles. So there's a red block and a blue block, and I have to put the right block in the right box. And that's also a fun thing. Like there's all these different shapes coming along, different colors. I got to grab the right one off the line for the box I have, the space I have left. So that's another time I'm solving a puzzle. But to get those two puzzles to be closer together was kind of the problem. And so when I had the line laid out like that in this very physical way with the conveyor belt, it was like a lot of time to grab the block and then all this time to move it over and put it in the box. And that was this boring time. And then, or maybe it was even some of the painful time. You really don't want that in there. That's where ergonomics starts coming in. That this twisting of your body, getting your joints out of their natural range of motion. So the idea is, how do I get all that stuff closer together and shorten it so it's all fun stuff? So here's 3 principles of ergonomics that I think are really important for this kind of VR design. So one is keeping a neutral posture. Like, you don't want to have your player in some kind of strange position or be forcing them to like grab something off their back and hold it for a long time. Like it's mostly your body is okay with moving in a very small amount of range. Don't flex or extend stuff too much. You just want to work in the comfort zone. So everything kind of in front of you in this natural, good feeling area, if you're just hanging out there, that's where you need to put all your real gameplay stuff into. And then third, allow for movement and stretching. So if you have someone doing the same exact thing over and over for a long time, that's repetitive stress injury, that's like painfulness. So you have to provide gameplay mechanisms for them to get out of that zone and do something different every once in a while. All right, so this is kind of how I did it in the end, was instead of having those big conveyor belts and this real physical movement, I was like, all right, I'm gonna have to get rid of, kill that sacred cow and put in some fake stuff. So I got this more futuristic, sciencey feel where I have these conveyor fields, and the blocks are floating across the screen in front of you. So you're able to grab them out of there, and then they expand up into your hand, and you can immediately drop them right down into the boxes. And this solved like a whole bunch of different problems, but the biggest one was that time between fun. So I'm able to solve this puzzle of which block do I grab, and then immediately look down and put it right into the place and get that second feeling of fun of, sweet, I found the place and I locked it in. Then I do have you, to get that stretching and movement around the room, there's other gameplay areas. So on the left side is a recycler. Every once in a while you might need to put a block in there. Or on the right side is where you ship the boxes out. So you're going to close the box, grab it, and then turn 90 degrees and ship it out. So that's both like a really fun gameplay moment too. That's when you're getting your score. So it's a good time to like give you a break and to not do it too frequently, because that's slow and boring. But hey, I'm giving you all your score, so it's worth it. So still a work in progress. A lot of problems still to solve the game. I think one of the biggest VR problems out there right now is that everything's like short experiences. Like it's great for showing in a demo. Someone can play for 3 minutes and like, oh, that's fun. But how do you get them to keep coming back and keep progressing through? Like this has been a problem in games in general that we've solved with 2D games a lot. But in VR, there's this heavy headset, and you're away from everyone else in the room. You have to find this dedicated time in your life, and there's not really any experiences out there yet that people are like, I got to come back. I'm gonna come back every day and keep playing this. So I'm struggling with that too. And then multiplayer. I want to add in multiplayer. I think it's one of the things that can make stuff more exciting and make it more sticky. Is that your friends like, hey, let's go play this. So how do I kind of mix those two things together? That's what I'm working on now. All right. So hopefully you learned a little bit about why I made the stuff, about ship it, and why ergonomics are something you need to focus on if you're building VR.
Yeah.
Okay, it's available on early access.
And it's super fun. Yeah. How do we get it?
Yeah, it's on early access on Steam. It'll be an Oculus store eventually. Maybe PS4 if I can do it.
You can do it.
Yeah, that's right.
From a development perspective, how do the Oculus Touch controllers versus the Vive?
Yeah, I can talk about it.
How is that affecting you, if at all?
So the Vive controllers, I found people really struggled with using them and grabbing them and using them consistently. So I can't wait till they release their next version and those are gone. That's something that's more natural for hands and that people can use the grip buttons or use the buttons naturally. The Oculus controllers, people use the same way, but they also have a similar problem. Is like people can't see them and they start pushing lots of extra buttons. And so I tried to build the game mostly around just using one button, like just grab things and let go. I want it to be simple enough for anyone to pick up, but then have enough mental challenge that a hardcore player can do it too. So the one button works pretty well, but then when they start hitting the other ones that have, like I do have some other functions on there, it starts screwing up their hands and then everything goes crazy. So yeah, so it'll be great when they're just all gone, maybe.
What are the other functions?
Like I have gestures in there, so you could like once there's multiplayer, you could make some gestures at the other players. Right now they're just kind of for fun, but yeah, they can get in the way because then if you're making a gesture, you can't grab the same way.
Do you have a story in the game?
Yes, we do. We have a really basic story. It could probably use some more tweaking, but it's kind of this futuristic farcical factory, like I mentioned. So there's a manager that comes over the speaker and makes fun of you if you're screwing up, and admonishes you and tells you that Kevin, the robot employee of the month, is going to take your job. So keep up with him.
Yeah, do you do ergonomics like in your work, or did you just take it upon yourself to research this and like make a game about it?
Yeah, the game is definitely not about ergonomics,
Sure.
but I just think it's really important.
Yeah.
Or it's like a new thing for VR design. Like you didn't need to do this when you had a controller in a 2D game, or like a regular world game we've all been making. You didn't need ergonomics. So I think it's just a new field that we all need to brush up on. And I don't do ergonomics for work either, but it's something that the companies I've worked at have always trained us on, or they want their employees to be healthy and continue working hard, so they want to set up your workspaces just right. And so in this game too, I try to let you do that too. I try to make things adjustable. I have on the control panel, there's an ergonomic control to change your height, because you need to be aware of accessibility and what are all your different players going to look like, and what capabilities they're going to have, how tall are they going to be, what size room do they have, are they colorblind or not. So like my color puzzles all have a shape that's associated with them, so even if you can't see red versus green, that's fine. So yeah, definitely try to be even more accessible in VR design because of the extra variations you're dealing with the input.
Thanks so much.